Hey guys, tonight we're not talking about starships or samurai. We're going deeper back to the very beginning. Picture a time before time, where there is no you, no me, not even a calendar to argue over. Just stillness, not the peaceful, spotlight kind, but the raw, bone-deep quiet of a blank page before the first word is written. And then light. It doesn't flicker on politely. It erupts. It tears through the void like a match striking inside a black cathedral. No sun yet, no fireball, just definition. A boundary between was and wasn't. God says let there be. And the universe rushes to obey, though historians still argue whether this moment was metaphorically literal, or just good ancient branding. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. Always fun to see this story ripple across the map. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're not here yet, not really, but something is. Light pulls across the heavens, casting long imagined shadows over waters that haven't been named. God, unseen and everywhere, moves over the deep like wind curling across a mirror. The sky forms first, and you don't get to vote on whether it's blue. It simply is. The earth pulls itself together beneath his will. Mountains rise, rivers split the skin of the land like veins. Forests appear not by seeds but by decision. It's messy, if you were watching closely. But you're not even dust yet. Then, time. Not a ticking clock, but a rhythm. The moon sets it, the stars mark it, the sun chases it like a hound that never tires. This isn't just world building, it's world ordering. The garden comes last. Eden. And no, it doesn't come with a map. No signage, no fences. It just is, a breathing ecosystem of tangled beauty, full of things you don't understand. Birds that lay square eggs, flowers that whisper their names, frogs with feathers. Yeah, nature had a lot of prototypes in this beta version, and through it all, silence. Sacred, yes, but hollow. Even God notices. So he speaks again. But this time, the words don't aim outward. They reach down. From the dark soil he gathers a fistful of dust, still warm from the newborn sun. It's ordinary, unimpressive. You wouldn't Instagram it. But in his hands, it twists, it stretches, it breathes, and suddenly you. Well, not you, but him. Adam, first of his kind. Hair matted with the dew of creation, chest heaving like a drum. Eyes wide and startled, as if he was expecting a refund, not existence. He gasps and hears it echo. The garden tilts around him. Light dapples through fig trees. Somewhere a tiger blinks and yawns. You'd think Adam would celebrate being alive, run, shout, break into song. But instead, he sits, because being first, it's lonely, like getting early to a party where the cake hasn't even arrived. He has everything, but no one to say, did you see that, too? And yes, he names a few animals to pass the time. Giraffe, hippo, weird screaming duck. Okay, that one didn't make the final cut. But they don't talk back, not in the way that counts. Mainstream theology paints him as peaceful, even content. But fringe scholars have pointed out ancient whispers texts that suggest Adam spent days asking God questions. Why am I here? Where's everyone else? Can I name the clouds? To which God, wisely, said, not yet. One morning, Adam wakes to find himself in a clearing where the trees have leaned slightly inward as if holding their breath. The light feels different today, thicker, somehow more expectant. The breeze carries a new scent, something floral, but spiced with anticipation. God has returned. But he doesn't speak this time. He gathers earth again, but not from the same spot. This soil is darker, deeper, taken from a place where roots twist like secrets. And he shapes her not beside Adam, but slightly apart, Her spine arcs before her face takes form. Her lungs inflate before her eyes open, and when they do, they don't look up. They look around. Lilith. She doesn't smile. She notices. She doesn't ask why she exists. She asks what else does. Her first breath is not obedience. It's curiosity. God doesn't tell her what she's for. He just says, "You are," and for her. That's enough. When Adam sees her, the breath he borrowed from God catches in his throat. He recognizes the shape of her, but not the fire. She's not a mirror. She's not a rib. She is her own arrival. The garden shifts around them. Even the animals pause. Something new has been added to the world. Not more light, not more order. But balance. For a moment, it holds. You wake to warmth. Not the clinical warmth of a blanket or a campfire. This is the raw, golden kind. The kind that filters through leaves and kisses your skin with curiosity. You blink, and the world is impossibly vivid. Greens that hum, blues that melt. The air doesn't just move, it sings. Somewhere, a stream giggles over stones like it just heard a secret. You sit up, and the earth tilts with you. This is your second day being alive. Adam sits nearby, legs crossed, hands resting on his knees like he's waiting for instructions that never came. He glances at you, not out of ownership but awe. His eyes say it all. You breathe like me. You're not the garden. You're not an animal. You're other. The silence between you could birth a galaxy. But neither of you rushes to speak. There's no language yet. Not really. Just gestures, glances, a shared confusion that might just be the beginning of understanding. You rise before he does. The ground beneath your feet is soft, but not submissive. Mosses curl around your ankles like they're greeting you by name. The trees lean slightly as you pass, not in reverence, but in interest. As if Eden itself is taking notes. Adam trails behind. He watches you run your hands along bark that feels older than time. He sees how your fingers trace the spirals in a snail's shell like they hold prophecy. And when you kneel to drink from the river, you don't cup the water, you let it reach up to you. Adam finally speaks. It's clumsy, awkward, like a child trying out a voice that doesn't fit yet. He points at a four-legged creature with eyes like wet marbles. "Fox," he says. You turn, blink, then softly respond. Why? He doesn't have an answer. He thought naming things would make them belong. But your question plants something dangerous, something alive. You don't argue. Not yet. But the gap between you opens by a fraction. By midday, you've wandered far ahead. Adam jogs to catch up. You move a lot, he says. I see a lot, you reply. This isn't sass. Just observation. That night, you both lie beneath a sky that refuses to be tamed. The stars aren't just lights, they're holes, pinpricks, in the fabric of the dome above, hinting at more, at elsewhere. At the possibility that Eden might not be the whole story, you say it first. Do you think we're the only ones? Adam blinks. I thought we were the first. That's not what I asked. And again, the silence grows. He dreams of structure, of rows, of order. He imagines fences and instructions and clear roles. Caretaker, namer, leader. You dream of caves filled with paintings and oceans that swallow whole cities. You dream of things that don't exist. Yet. It's subtle at first. The way he begins explaining things instead of discovering them. The way you ask questions he doesn't think are worth asking. Why do vines spiral clockwise? Because they do. Why do some flowers bloom only at night? They just do. You're not trying to unravel Eden. You're just paying attention. But Adam senses your curiosity like it's a rebellion. One morning, you wake to find him rearranging stones near the river, creating space. He says proudly, "For what?" "For you. So you'll have somewhere to sit beside me. Not behind. Not ahead, beside." It's a kind gesture. A sweet one, but it echoes with something Off. As if you need help knowing where to place yourself. Later, he tries again. He brings you fruits unwarmed and heavy. This is for you. Did the tree say I was ready? He looks confused. It's just fruit. You smile softly. Everything speaks. You just don't listen long enough. It's not meant to wound. But he flinches anyway. The animals begin to notice the difference. Deer linger longer when you're alone. Birds flit closer to your hands than his. Even the air bends differently around your movements. Scholars today still argue whether this is symbolic or a vestige of forgotten oral traditions. But the records scattered, fragmented keep repeating one thing. She understood the garden in ways Adam didn't. You begin crafting things, not tools, expressions. You twist leaves into ribbons, stack stones into patterns, scratch shapes into bark, just to see if they feel true. This is art before art, creation without purpose. Joy without utility. Adam watches. He doesn't disapprove, but he doesn't get it. And that's worse. One night, as stars bloom overhead, he turns to you and says, "Do you think God made us to do different things?" You pause. "I think God made us to be different things." He doesn't speak after that, but the river seems to. The next morning, when Adam names a creature with 6 legs and glows in the dark, you ask again, "Why that name?" He shrugs. "I like how it sounds." You nod. So do I. That moment is rare, simple, shared, but it won't last. The garden is beginning to mirror your divergence. Plants bloom more wildly where you walk. Rivers meander more freely near your paths. Even the insects shift toward you, not for protection, but for the way you see them. God watches, not with judgment, but with interest, because this isn't a mistake. It's designed. To beings. 2 ways of moving, 2 forms of reverence, but soon, only one will stay. The morning air tastes like citrus and salt. You rise before the sun finishes stretching across the horizon. The grass cools your feet, slick with dew, and the wind pulls gently at your hair like it's trying to tell you something only you are meant to hear. You stand still, listening not with ears, but with skin. The garden hums, and underneath that hum, something new. Behind you, Adam stirs, groggy. The way someone moves when sleep is a cage they weren't ready to leave. He rubs his eyes, not quite looking at you, not quite seeing you. You walk deeper into the green. Something shifts around you, not in the wind or the earth, but in the shape of the world. Attention, not danger, not threat. Curiosity. You're not being followed. Not by him, anyway, but something is watching. You kneel by a stream and let the water thread between your fingers. It's not cold. It's not warm. It's aware. You speak to it softly, not in words, exactly, but in tension. I know you. I will not take without asking. The river ripples in agreement. God is near. You feel it, not as footsteps or voice, but a sudden stillness that wraps around the trees like velvet. He speaks, not aloud, not in thunder, but through the way the birds quiet mid-song and the way your spine straightens on its own. Do you understand what you are? He asks. You answer without speaking. I understand what I am not. The wind approves. It was never explained to you, this being. You were shaped, breathed into, and released. No list, no orders, no function. But you've learned by watching the way vines choose their direction, the way foxes bury what they treasure, the way silence falls heavier before storms. You are not made for Adam. You were made with breath, the same breath. Back near the grove, Adam builds a seat from stones again. He calls to you, voice wrapped in optimism. This time it faces the sunrise. You don't reply, not yet. You're watching the ants. One carries a grain twice its size. Another moves out of the way. You wonder who taught them. You wonder if obedience is really instinct or just practice. When you return, he smiles, points to the seat like it's a prize. I made this with you in mind. You sit next to it. Not on it. Adam's smile twitches. He's not angry, but something cracks in him. Just slightly. Later that day, While you're gathering red berries from a bush that hums like bees even when empty, he appears beside you. God said we're meant to rule the animals. You tilt your head. He said to care for them. Same thing. You stand slowly. Not to them. He laughs. But it's dry. You always twist meanings. You think about replying, but decide to twist a vine instead into a loose knot that resembles the spiral of a snail shell. He doesn't notice. That evening, as the sun bleeds into the river, Adam speaks again. I think I'm supposed to lead. You chew a piece of fig, then lead yourself. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. But if we're together, you interrupt, softly. We are together. For now, the silence is not hostile, but it isn't peaceful either. That night you dream of birds made of fire, soaring over oceans without names. When you wake, the dream sticks to your skin like mist. You begin collecting things that feel like memory. Curved leaves, stones shaped like teardrops, bark that peels like old paper. You press them into the earth in shapes. Only you understand. Adam steps around one of them the next day. Doesn't ask, doesn't kneel, just steps around. You wonder how long someone can share space without sharing attention. You ask God nothing, but he watches. Somewhere in the garden, a tree that never bloomed suddenly erupts with yellow flowers. Adam doesn't notice. You do. And you touch each petal like it's a question. By the fourth morning, animals seek you out. A fox curls beside you while you nap. A sparrow drops berries near your foot. Adam sees this and asks, why do they like you? You say, because I see them. He frowns. I see them too. You want to say. You label them, but you don't single quotes T. Instead. You ask, do you think you know me? He says, of course. Then you ask, what do I fear? He doesn't answer. And the pause stretches so long it feels like a root growing between you. That afternoon, you find a flower you've never seen. 5 blue petals, each tipped in red. When you touch it, the plant trembles not in pain, but anticipation. You crouch, low and hum, a vibration, not a song. The flower opens wider. Historians still debate whether Eden was literal or metaphor, whether this knowledge of plant sentience was poetic or prophetic. But your fingertips tingle with the feeling of permission. The garden knows you. You are not a tenant. You are kin. That night, you sit beside Adam at the river. The moon floats above like an eye refusing to blink. He touches your arm. Why don't you stay still more, you think? Then answer, because the still things rot. He doesn't know how to respond. You lean back on your elbows. The sky bends. Do you ever wonder if there's more than Eden? You whisper. Adam blinks. Why would there be? You close your eyes. Not from fatigue, but from repetition. He loves you, you know that, but he cannot follow you where you're going. Not because he won't, but because he hasn't asked where that is. The next morning arrives slow, warm, and quiet, like it's hesitant to interrupt. The birds are singing, but softer. The light filters down between the trees like a secret, and the wind carries the scent of ripe fruit and questions no one's dared to ask. You wake before Adam again, not because you want distance, but because the garden pulls you in ways he doesn't feel. You walk its paths not as a guest, not even as a caretaker. You walk like someone who belongs. The animals do too. A doe brushes past your leg, unbothered. A cluster of bright insects dances near your shoulder. You don't flinch, you don't swat, you observe. And more than that, you listen. Nearby, Adam stirs. He mutters something in sleep. You can't make out the words, but the tone is clipped like he's arguing with someone who's not there. You smile, faintly. Then keep walking. Together, you and Adam tend the garden. That was the assignment. After all, you gather seeds. He builds irrigation channels with sticks and mud, proud of each improvement like it's a divine invention. You praise his work, you mean it. But when you draw symbols in the mud, beside the channel markings of where the moonlight lands at night, he wipes them away without thinking. They'll get in the way of the water, he says. They were the water, you answer quietly. But he doesn't ask what you mean. That afternoon, he names 2 new birds, one with a sharp call, the other with blue feathers like the sky at dusk. You point out that they already had names. He laughs. By who? By themselves. Adam tilts his head like you've told him a rock can dream. You talk to birds now. You grin. No. I listen when they talk. He squints. That's not how it works. You don't answer. You're busy. Watching the bird with the sky-colored wings. It's tracing circles overhead. You wonder if it's describing something it saw in the clouds. That night, you sit together beneath a fig tree. Adam eats in quiet bites. You peel a fruit slowly, letting the juice coat your fingers. He says, "You're different lately." You nod. You wonder more. I return. You question things. I always did. He sighs. Not from anger but fatigue. Can't we just enjoy this? It's paradise. You turn to him. Maybe for you. The silence lands like ash. For a while, you talk about easier things. The way the vines grew faster near the river. The way some bees seem to argue mid-air before deciding on a flower. He laughs again. Properly this time. You laugh too. But beneath it, the rhythm has changed. You feel it in the earth. In the way the roots stretch differently. In the way certain plants bloom only when you pass. The garden is not rejecting Adam, but it's learning your language. He notices, and he doesn't know what to do with that dot. One morning, a lion approaches as you sit near the water. A full-grown male, scarred and slow. You don't flinch. You don't run. You look him in the eye, and he lowers his head, not submission, but recognition. Adam sees it from a distance. His breath catches. Later, he asks, "Why didn't you call me?" You say, "Because he didn't come for fear. He came for help." Adam nods. He doesn't press. But that night, you catch him sharpening a stick. "Just in case," he says. The next day, a new flower appears, silver-edged and shaped, like a question mark. You kneel beside it, but don't touch. You ask it, "Were you here before me? Or did you wait?" Adam calls to you. "We should gather fruit." You don't move. He tries again. "Come on. You said you liked the citrus grove." "I did." You reply, "Until I saw the snakes learning how to hide there." He frowns. "Why would they hide?" You shrug. "Maybe because they were being watched." He doesn't respond. But the next day, he avoids the grove entirely. You watch from a distance. This becomes the rhythm. You move with the garden. He works on it. You listen to wind patterns. He adjusts. Water flow. You learn from the creatures. He names them. You aren't against him. But you are no longer with him in the way he assumes. Historians still argue whether this was the moment Eden fractured, not when fruit was eaten, but when presence became performance, when harmony stopped being shared. That evening, as you sit by a crescent-shaped pond, Adam approaches with a handful of stones. He starts arranging them in a spiral. You tilt your head. "What are you doing?" "I thought you'd like this shape." You draw it a lot. You smile. "I do." You don't tell him that the spiral isn't a shape to you, it's a prayer. He finished arranging, then sits beside you. "Maybe we just see different things." You nod. "And maybe that's not a problem." But you both know it's already becoming one. You rest your head against a tree that leans slightly left, always has. You asked it once if that was intentional. It didn't answer, but it didn't stand straight after. Either. The garden has a memory. So do you. And both of you are beginning to wonder if this piece was ever yours to begin with. You wake to footsteps, not loud ones, just enough to stir the leaves. Adam's already moving through the underbrush, his stride confident, purposeful. You watch him from beneath a low tree. Its branches cradling you like soft ribs. He's collecting things. Fruit, sticks, anything useful, but not answers. That's your job. You stretch slowly, feeling the earth shift slightly to accommodate you. The garden knows your weight now. It adjusts for you, like a friend. Or a witness? You rise and follow your own path, not parallel to Adam's, not opposite. Just different. The morning smells of citrus peel and warm stone. You follow a breeze that smells like the sea, though no one has told you if a sea even exists. You chase birds not to catch them, but to ask where they've been. You crouch to examine claw marks on bark patterns that speak of night wanderings, of small creatures with bigger stories. Adam returns around midday, arms full of figs and yams. He looks pleased. Like a provider, you return with your hands stained green from moss and purple from some flower you haven't named yet. A beetle clings to your wrist like a jewel. He glances at it, says nothing. He offers you fruit. You accept it. You offer him a leaf that smells like sunburn and memory. He sniffs it and says, "It's bitter." You smile. Not always. He doesn't finish it. Later that day, you find a stream you didn't know was there. It sings at a different pitch, higher, urgent. You kneel beside it and trace its bends with your fingertips. You whisper to it words without shape, just intention. You wonder where it begins, where it ends. Adam doesn't ask. He's building something again. Another stone circle. Or maybe a wall. He gestures for you to come closer. "I've made a space for us." You walk over slowly. It's neat, measured, symmetrical. It's stifling. "I like it." You lie. He smiles, proud. That night, you lie apart. Not by much, but enough. Do you ever wonder, you ask into the dark, why some creatures live in pairs, and some alone? He turns toward you. "I think we're meant to be together. I think we're meant to choose that." The silence doesn't argue. It just settles. The next morning, you climb a tree, not for fruit, just to see. From the top, Eden sprawls like a secret. You see clusters of trees you've never noticed. Rocks shaped like sleeping giants. Even the animals seem different from up here, less like subjects, more like neighbors. You whisper to the sky, "Show me what he doesn't see." The sky, of course, doesn't answer, but it also doesn't turn away. You stay up there long enough that Adam calls out, "Where are you?" "Here." You call back, "I brought berries." You pause, "I already ate." You descend slowly. The wine tugs your hair back like it wants you to stay. That evening, you take Adam to the tree you found days earlier, the one that bloomed silver in your presence. "It's different," you tell him. He squints. "Looks like any other tree." You frown. "It sings at night." He laughs. "Trees don't sing." You step back. Not because you're offended, but because there's no room left in his certainty. Historians still debate what Lilith believed Eden was. A home, a test, a cage with very polite landscaping. You never called it anything. You just called it quiet. And lately, that quiet has teeth. Adam keeps building. Patterns in the soil, stone structures that hint at permanence. You keep moving. Following vines that point like fingers. Watching how some animals sleep together in piles, while others carve out solitude. He calls you restless. You call it awake. One afternoon, you walk so far that the trees grow thinner and the ground becomes chalky. The horizon blinks at you. You stop. Not out of fear, but out of awe. There's an edge to this place, a threshold. You crouch and press your palm to the earth. It hums differently here. A memory you haven't made yet. When you return, Adam is waiting. He's made a new clearing, one shaped like a circle, with a space at the center. "For us," he says. You nod, but don't step inside. That night, while you both lie beneath a sky soaked in stars, you ask, "What if we're not the end of creation?" He blinks. "You mean more animals?" You stare upward. "I mean more us, different, distant, curious in ways we can't imagine." He doesn't answer, just turns away, shoulders curling in. You feel it again, that quiet pressure between your ribs. The one that says, "This isn't wrong. It's just no longer enough." The garden still welcomes you, but it's starting to feel like a place you were meant to pass through, not stay. Adam doesn't know that yet, but the trees do. And they lean closer every time you whisper your questions to the sky. It begins with rhythm. Not the kind Adam likes measured, regular, predictable, but the kind you feel in your bones. The rhythm of birds flapping in uneven bursts, of roots tunneling in secret, of your own steps as you move through Eden on paths that haven't been walked yet. Adam's steps sound different. He walks like he knows the way, even when he doesn't, like a person trying to draw straight lines in a spiral garden. You walk like someone reading a book written in Morse. This is what changes first. How you move. He stays close to the river now, builds things, rearranges. He measures water levels with stacked stones and explains how many plants can grow in the new section he's cleared. You listen, you nod, but you don't stay. You drift to the outer trees, the ones with bark that peels, in spirals, to the hills where the shadows stay longer in the morning, to the places that feel less like shelter and more like question marks. Why do you wander? Adam asks one day, don't you pick a red fruit and bite into it? Because I want to know what's beyond the next curve. There's enough here. He insists. For you. You say softly. That's the second change. What you need. Adam thrives on routine. He rises with the same light, eats from the same trees, repeats the same names for things that now feel tired in your mouth. Giraffe, dove, vine. You start making up your own. Words not rooted in logic, but in sound. You call a certain flower Curé because it sounds like wine through feathers. You name a glowing beetle Marin, after the hum it leaves in your hand. Adam hears you say these words and frowns. That's not what we agreed to call it. We didn't agree. You say you decided. A pause. Then, it's confusing if we don't match. You nod. Maybe confusion is part of learning. He doesn't reply. Historians still argue whether Adam and Lilith's break was emotional, intellectual, or spiritual. The oldest texts suggest it began in the body in pasture. Adam begins to stand taller. You begin to sit lower, closer to the roots. Adam speaks more. You listen longer. And the garden shifts with you. Animals start gathering in places Adam no longer visits. A grove of silver-tipped ferns grows faster near your rest spot. One day, a fox sleeps beside you without prompting. Adam walks past, and the fox doesn't move, doesn't even flinch. He notices. Why are they drawn to you? Maybe because I don't expect them to follow. That stings. You know it does. But you say it gently. That night, you hear him muttering again in his sleep. The word obedience slips out once, half-formed. You wonder if he dreams of rules, of ladders and rankings and chairs at the head of some cosmic table. You never dream of chairs. You dream of wine. One day, you catch him standing still, staring at the tree where you often sit. You approach quietly. What are you thinking? You ask. I want us to be in sync. You smile, soft and tired. We are in rhythm, just not the same one. He turns. Then how can we build together? You kneel, fingers brushing the soil. Maybe we don't build a structure. Maybe we grow something. He shakes his head. Things that grow need guidance. They need pruning. You glance at a vine climbing a tree without help. It's beautiful. You don't say anything. Later that week, you offer him a woven braid of grass and bark. It means listening. He holds it like a snake. It means nothing, he says. You smile. Only because you haven't learned to read. This becomes the third change. How you speak. You don't argue. Not really. But your words begin carrying weight even when you whisper. One morning, you ask Adam, do you love the garden? He replies quickly. Of course. But do you know it? He frowns. I know its names. You gesture around. Names aren't knowing. I know its moods. I know which tree sighs first when the wind comes. I know which birds argue at dusk. He laughs, not unkindly. You make things too complicated. No, you say. I just don't flatten them. That night, you lie under stars while Adam paces. He's trying to remember a list of things to do, of tasks to assign. You're watching the constellations form patterns you haven't seen before. I think the stars move, you whisper. They can't, he says. They're fixed, you point. That one wasn't there last night. He doesn't look. Instead, he lies beside you stiffly. You're changing, he says. You nod. He continues, and I don't know if I can follow. You close your eyes. Then maybe I was never meant to be led. You wake in stillness, not the kind that feels empty, but the kind that holds its breath before something begins. The leaves above you are trembling, but not from wind. They're listening. You feel it dot the garden knows. You stretch your fingers into the dirt. It's cool and damp and alive. Not just alive with roots and worms and growing things, but with memory. And lately, it remembers you. You don't ask it for permission. You wait for it to offer. Today you walk with no direction, and still everything opens for you. Vines shift from your path. Ferns curl back to reveal fox tracks. Even the birds flutter above like they know you have something worth hearing. The garden doesn't fear you. It recognizes you. Adam follows, several steps behind. He doesn't say much anymore. He's begun waiting for you to speak first, as if your silence might change its mind and return to being agreeable. It won't. You crouch by a patch of bruised grass, examining where a small animal, maybe a jackal, had slept last night. You touch the imprint like it's a memory you weren't invited to. And yet the ground offers it freely. You spend a lot of time doing that, Adam says. You don't look up. Doing what? Watching, touching things, listening. You shrug. It's how I understand. Adam sighs. You could just ask. I am. He's confused. He thinks asking only happens with words. You stand and walk toward a tree with bark that's begun peeling in spirals. You press your palm flat against it. It's warm, alive. You whisper not words, but breath, intention, the same way the wind does when it curls through sleeping branches. The bark shivers somewhere nearby. A bird calls 3 notes, pauses, and calls again. You hum the pattern back. It responds. Adam watches all of it, like someone observing a performance, without knowing the language. He crosses his arms. They don't understand you. You smile. Maybe you don't understand them. He walks away. You return to the pond. Your favorite one, the one shaped like a teardrop that never quite falls. A crane stands nearby, still and elegant, like a statue made from patience. You sit in the reeds. The crane doesn't move. You close your eyes. The wind brushes your face. A dragonfly lands on your knee and stays. The garden surrounds you not like walls, but like water. It accepts you not as a visitor, but as part of the whole. You've never claimed it. You've never tried to shape it into something else. And so, it speaks, not in speech, but in gesture. A leaf drifting across your arm. A sudden stillness in the air before you step. A change in the taste of the breeze. You've learned to read these signs. You've learned to wait. Adam doesn't wait. He builds, clears, names, orders, and the more he tries to structure the garden, the less it responds to him. The birds perch farther. The animals no longer linger near his fire pits. Even the vines seem to grow away from his carefully laid paths. He notices, one evening, you sit together near a low tree with twisted roots. He doesn't speak for a long time. Then he says, I think they like you more. You pause. I think they trust what I leave untouched. He looks at his hands, calloused, strong, stained with bark and effort. He doesn't speak again. That night, you wake from a dream where the garden pulsed like a heart. Every beat sent ripples through the leaves, and you could feel the rhythm in your chest. You stood beneath the fig tree and heard it whisper your name, not as a summons, but as a memory it never wanted to forget. You sit up and breathe slowly, deeply. You don't want to rule this place. You want to understand it. And that's the difference. Adam believes in stewardship. You believe in kinship. He wants to tend the soil. You want to hear what the soil wants to become. Mainstream scholars rarely explore this divide. Most treat Eden as a passive place, a stage for 2 actors. But some fringe mystics, Poets, dreamers suggest. The garden was never just backdrop. It was character. And it chose who to confide in. You wake early the next morning and mix ground bark with crushed petals. You spread it on a shallow wound left on your shin from a sharp stone. The mixture smells of rain and something ancient. Adam watches you from a distance. You don't offer to explain, because you know he wouldn't listen. Not really. Later, he tries to mimic you. He picks a handful of leaves and rubs them together, smearing green pulp on a scrape along his arm. It stings. He curses under his breath. Not those, you say gently. They irritate the skin. He scowls. They looked like the ones you nod, but they're not. They grow in different soil, carry different energy. He tosses the leaves. You could have told me. You didn't ask. I thought I knew. You kneel beside him. Take a small pouch from your side, filled with herbs you've dried over days, leaves that curled willingly, bark that peeled on its own. You apply the mixture. He winces, but doesn't pull away. Better. You ask. He doesn't answer, just stares at the ground. That evening, a young lynx limps near your shelter. You approach slowly, lowering yourself to the ground. Adam watches. From behind a tree, tense, you whisper to the lynx, holding out a shallow bowl of water, infused with crushed root. It drinks, breathes, stays. You run your hand over its fur, gentle, patient. It doesn't flinch. Adam walks away before it curls beside you to sleep. You stroke the animal's back and murmur. They don't want a master, just someone who hears. The lion doesn't roar. That's the first thing you notice. Its breath comes shallow and slow, like a flame that's nearly gone. Its eyes golden and glassy. Don't threaten, they plead. You crouch before it in the tall grass near the western edge of Eden, the place where even the trees whisper more softly. Adam isn't here. You don't wait for him. The lion's flank rises and falls, sticky with blood. The wound is deep, but not fatal yet. Its paw twitches once, then again. But the body stays still. You move slowly, palms open. You speak, not in words, but presence. I am not here to conquer you. You kneel, your knees sink into the warm earth. The lion doesn't pull away. It watches. Then it lets you touch it. You gather water from the nearby stream. It's cool, but not cold. You soak a piece of bark in it, bark you peeled days ago, without knowing why. The lion's wound is hot, angry, but you don't flinch. You press the bark gently to the gash, and when the lion exhales, it sounds like relief. Later, you'll wonder if the bark chose you, or if you chose it. Either way, it was waiting. You open the small pouch tied around your waist. You keep it. Full now. Leaves, powdered roots, bits of dried moss that crumble like memory. You mix a paste with your fingers. The texture is right. You don't think. You know. Historians rarely agree on how much Lilith knew of medicine, or if medicine is even the right word. Some say she was guided by intuition, others by divine whisper, but none deny the results. You work in silence, murmuring sounds, not meant for ears, only for healing. The lion breathes, then sighs. He does not run, he does not growl. He closes his eyes. Trust is a rare kind of miracle. When Adam finds you, the sun is lower. You're still beside the lion, now dozing in sleep. Your hands are stained green and red. Your face is calm. The air around you feels still. He stops several feet away. You could have been killed. You look up. I wasn't, but you might have. You nod. That's true of everything. He doesn't approach. Why didn't you come find me? I didn't need help. That's not the point. He snaps. You study him for a moment, isn't it? He looks at the lion. It does not move. It barely acknowledges him. I could have scared it off, he mutters. You shake your head. You would have. He says nothing. That night, you sit apart. Not in anger, in truth. He builds a small fire. You sit with the stars when the lion rises, slowly, to drink from the stream. It glances back at you, just once, just long enough. Adam watches from the shadows, The next day, something changes. The animals begin seeking you, not just appearing near you, but finding you. A wounded bird lands on your shoulder without fear. A snake coils beside you, sleeping from like a belt of breath. Deer rest near you, unbothered by your steps. You don't beckon. They come because you don't command. Adam sees this, tries to copy you. He sits still 4 hours, leaves fruit near his camp. He whispers the names he's given the animals. None come. He doesn't say anything when you pass. Just watches you, eyes heavy. That afternoon, he approaches while you're mixing herbs in a shallow bowl. You treat them like people. I treat them like beings. He frowns. But they're not us. No, you agree. And we're not them. He doesn't understand. But he's too tired to argue. Instead, he watches as a wounded fox limps toward you. You press your hand gently to its fur, eyes half closed, whispering something only the fox hears. I don't know how you do it, Adam says, almost whispering. You don't answer, because it's not something you do. It's something you are. The garden knows. It always has. One evening, you find a small clearing where no paths cross. The trees here grow in odd shapes, twisted, yes, but beautiful. You sit in the center, close your eyes, and breathe. You feel the roots beneath you, the heartbeat of the soil, the weight of silence that isn't empty, it's listening. You speak, aloud, not to anyone, just to the everything. I don't want to rule you. I want to walk with you. The wind shifts, the air cools. A single leaf drifts down and lands in your lap. You don't move. Later, Adam arrives. He sees the animals gathered, the peace in your eyes. The way the earth seems to wrap itself around your feet, he says. They've made you their queen. You laugh softly. They don't need a queen. He doesn't respond. That night, you sleep beneath the trees. The lion curls near your back, the fox at your feet. The air smells of cedar and promise. Adam watches from the distance, alone, and the garden makes no move to invite him closer. You wake to the sound of rain that isn't falling. It's a memory. One the leaves carry in their veins, one the stones whisper beneath moss. The scent of it clings to your skin before the sky dares weep. You know it will come soon. The earth is already thirsty. You stretch, slowly. The lion is gone, but its warmth remains in the place it slept. A feather rests beside you, long, silver, unbroken. You didn't see any bird. Adam's voice cuts the quiet. They say the storm is coming. You don't turn. They said it yesterday. He nods. I think they mean another kind. You rise and brush soil from your legs. Storms don't frighten me. That's because you've never been outside the garden. You finally turn to face him. His eyes are harder now, not cruel, just carved. He looks tired in a way that doesn't come from work, but from wanting something that won't love him back. You nod toward the edge of Eden. Do you want to go? He hesitates. No, I just think. You do. You walk past him, gently. Not yet. The days begin to change. The garden grows restless. The wind speaks in sentences now, not sighs. Trees sway when there's no breeze. The birds gather in quiet congress, whispering things not meant for Adam. And the serpent returns. It doesn't slither or coil. It glides. Its eyes are wet coins, and its body reflects the sun in a way that feels dishonest. You see it first near the fig tree, your tree, the one that blooms out of season, the one that bends when you sit beneath it, like a friend listening. The serpent's voice is softer than memory. You don't belong here, it says. You don't flinch. Neither do you. But I was invited. You stare. By whom? The serpent doesn't answer. It circles the roots of the tree like it knows something you forgot. It grins. Tell me, Lilith. Has the garden told you its real name yet? You narrow your eyes. It doesn't need to. I knew it before I came. A pause. Then, do you know why it made you? You tilt your head. It didn't. I was unmade into this. The serpent stops. You've confused it. Good. You turn your back, but its voice follows. He fears you. You don't ask who. You already know. Adam doesn't come to your fire that night. You find him instead by the eastern cliff, the one that overlooks the misted valley. His shoulders are hunched, his hands are clenched. There's a branch nearby, broken in half. He won't speak to me anymore, he says. You sit beside him. Who? The one who made us. You don't answer. I ask questions, I wait, I pray, and the silence grows. Still, you say nothing. I thought I was first. I thought that meant something. You sigh. You were first, but not before me. He looks at you then. Really looks. You think you came from the same soil. No. You say, I think I came from none. Silence. I am not your rib. Adam. He stands abruptly. Then what are you? You rise slowly. I am what was not asked for, what was not shaped for you. I am the part of creation that didn't bend. He looks at you like you've grown. Horns, maybe you have. Maybe that's why the deer bow when you pass. The serpent appears again. This time, it speaks in riddles. It calls itself a mirror. It asks you what would happen if you left the garden, if you went east, past the river, past the border the Creator warned against. You ask it why he cares what you do. It laughs. Because you remind him of what he cannot control. You say nothing. It leans in, voice like velvet. He made you wild, but he didn't think wild things would stay. You watch the horizon that night. The stars shift slightly. The wind carries names you've never spoken aloud. Somewhere, an owl cries twice. You know it means something. The lion does not return. Instead, a pair of wolves watch you from the tree line. You nod once. They vanish. Adam does not speak to you for 3 days. When he does, he says, they told me you're dangerous. You look at the vines, blooming despite the season. Then they're paying attention. He clenches his jaw. They say you whisper to things you shouldn't. You smile faintly. I only listen. That night, you dream of a doorway in the sky, and behind it, a version of yourself untouched, unburned, unbowed. She stares at you, doesn't smile, doesn't frown, just waits. When you wake, the fig tree has dropped every leaf. The garden is preparing. So are you. You do not belong to this soil. You do not need to, because some things are not planted. They are born in the wind, and carried where they're meant to disrupt. You walk without shoes, not because they are lost, but because the earth beneath your feet must know you're still willing to touch it. The stones do not hurt you, the thorns bend slightly. The dew holds its breath until you pass. You are no longer hiding. The animals still come, but now they keep their distance, not in fear, but reverence. They wait until your eyes find them. They bow slightly. Then they vanish again, silent as dusk. Even the wind waits its turn to speak. You return to the stream where you once healed the lion. The water is lower now. The soil around it darker. Something is shifting. Something has already shifted. Adam is behind you. You feel him before he speaks. You've made a decision. You nod. I have. He's quiet. You won't ask. I already did. And I listened. He closes his eyes. They say you're walking toward death. You shake your head. I'm walking toward what comes after obedience. He looks pained. He'll punish you, perhaps. He'll erase you. You step into the stream. The water coils around your ankles like memory. Then let him try. The serpent is waiting farther down, not coiled now. Not hidden. It stands on legs. They are long, thin, jointed in ways that don't make sense. Its body unfolds in segments, like it was never meant to be seen in daylight. Its voice is the same, though. East, you nod. You'll suffer. I already have. You'll be alone. You turn. And in that moment, the garden holds its breath. No one who leaves here is ever alone. You say. The serpent hisses not in anger, but it slinks back into the trees. You do not watch it go. The threshold is not marked by signs. There is no flaming sword, no great warning, only a slight change in the air, a sharpness. The grass becomes stone, the trees thin. The sky bruises at the edges. You step forward, 1 foot. then the other. Nothing burns. No voice shouts. No chains wrap around your legs. Only silence. Then a whisper. Your name. Not woman. Not wife. Not helper. Lilith, you walk faster. The world outside Eden is not chaos. Not yet. It is quiet. Untouched. It is raw, not ruined. The soil is thick and red. The trees are sparse, but tall. The wind moves differently here, like a creature that isn't being watched anymore. The stars don't hide. The moon has scars. You sleep beside a fallen log that night, curled in your own arms. You do not dream, because dreams are still afraid of you. You wake to singing. Not human. Something in the rocks, in the riverbed, in the echo of light on dew. It isn't music, but it isn't silence either. You follow it, barefoot, hair loose, skin dusted with leaves. And then you find it. The others. Not many. Just 3 at first. One stoking a fire without flint. One sitting cross-legged, weaving something that looks like thread from wind. One with eyes like yours. You step forward. They don't move. They don't startle. The one with the wine thread speaks first. You left. You nod. You waited. The firekeeper smiles faintly. We always do. You sit beside them. No one asks you who you are. Only who you are. They do not pray aloud. They do not bow. They do not speak of him. Instead, they teach you how to drink from the earth without breaking it. How to speak to time. How to bury pain in salt and pull it out sweet. They call you sister, but never second. You learn their names. Ashra, who sings in silence. Ketira, who braids light into snares. And Nama, whose voice is a mirror and whose hands never age. They say you are not the first, but you are different. You were the first to walk out alive. In time, others come, some bleeding, some cursed, some bearing children with eyes too wide for their skulls. All come with the same question on their lips. Am I allowed to be? You answer the same way every time. You reach out your hand. You say, you already are. The world burns slowly. Empires rise in smoke. Temples are built by the bones of those who dared question. And somewhere behind scrolls, behind warnings, behind edits, they whisper your name. They curse it. Then they bury it. Not in earth, but in shame. They tell the daughters not to say it. They tell the sons not to ask about it. They write new beginnings. Ones where you never lived, where you were just a rib, where you were never whole. But the animals remember. The fig tree remembers. The lion, now old and scarred, still drinks from the stream and waits. And the serpent, even it learns something that day. You do not need wings to fall. Only will. Only truth. And the courage to say, I do not belong to your garden, because the garden was never yours to begin with. Centuries pass like wind. You do not measure them in years, but in scars. In the number of women who whisper your name at the edge of sleep. In the firelight reflected in the eyes of those exiled for asking why they were made to kneel. You walk the earth, never fading. You do not die. You do not age, because those who are erased live longer than those who are remembered falsely. In one land, they call you a demon. They say your womb births monsters, that you drink blood from cradles, that you seduce men in their sleep and steal their seed. They carve your name into warning signs, hang it above doorposts like garlic, but still, you come. Not to devour. To watch. To weep. To plant herbs where they bury unwanted daughters. To leave stones on graves that had no names. You are not vengeful. You are proof. That silence does not mean surrender. That banishment does not mean defeat. In Babylon, they write you in clay, but not kindly. They show you with wings too large, claws too sharp, eyes too knowing, and they never mention what you were before they lied. You visit the city once, under moonlight. You walk among the ruins before they're even ruins. A child sees you. She does not scream. She reaches up and touches your cheek. You hand her a leaf folded into the shape of a heart. She calls you Amma. You vanish. They try to trap you in names. Lilith. Lamashtu.ard80- Lily. Night hag, dark bride, serpent's wife, They throw syllables like stones, hoping to shatter you. But every time you are broken, you regrow in someone's breath. In the mother who teaches her daughter to say no without apology. In the widow who doesn't cover her head. In the midwife who chooses to save the woman instead of the law. You are not one woman now. You are a lineage, a rumor that refused to die, a prayer said in defiance, a song without permission. There are temples where your likeness is scratched out. There are scrolls where your story ends too soon. There are sermons that do not mention you at all. But in the margins. A line here, a curl of ink there, a strange pause in a list of names. You linger. Even silence cannot stop your voice when it lives inside the ones who dare to wonder what came before Eve. And still, the garden dreams of you. Sometimes it rains without warning. The fig tree bears fruit out of season. A lion is seen lying beside a wolf. No violence, only memory. The Creator walks alone, sometimes looking east, but he does not call out, because he knows you would not answer, not anymore. You live in forgotten places, on cliffs where women jump to escape hands that called themselves holy. In caves where rebels sleep. In ash where books once burned. You are the whisper in a girl's heart that says you are not made for him. You are the shadow in the courtroom where a woman is asked why she didn't leave sooner. You are the red thread tied around the ankles of infants born under strange moons. One night, as stars spill across the sky like broken oil, you sit beside a fire with a woman who reminds you of yourself. She has walked far. Her face is tired, not from distance but from being disbelieved. She says, "They told me I'm cursed. That's something. Inside me is a wrong." You take her hand. You trace the veins. You whisper. Then we share the same blessing. A comet passes. The earth does not notice, but the sky does. And in its tail, something glows. Not destruction. Recognition. You stand. Finally. The world is heavy again. You breathe in dust. You breathe out light. And the stars blink once, twice like a knowing eye. Because the story is not over. It never was. You are not banished. You left. And every woman who chooses her own name follows. You do not sprout feathers. No. The wings they later paint on you, those are lies of comfort. Your wings are not angelic. They are not soft. They are not white. They are formed from every refusal you've ever whispered beneath your breath. They are made of the no you spoke in Eden. The no to being silent. The no to being small. The no to being named by someone else, and so they rise behind you, not in flight, but in stance. They shimmer like obsidian, heavy, sharp, unwilling to fold. You don't fly with them, you carry them, like armor. Like truth, like a price no one else was willing to pay. The desert is your home now, not because you are cursed, but because no one else dares to make peace with a place that doesn't offer reward. The wind tastes like salt. The sun peels the softness from your skin, but you remain. And as you wait, others come, some half dead, some fully broken, all of them erased. A woman who fled before her wedding night. A child left in a basket beside a monastery wall. A midwife accused of sorcery for washing blood away without prayer. They sit beside you. They don't ask for miracles, only to be seen. And you look. You do not blink. You hear your name in the mouths of those who hate you. Lilith becomes warning. It becomes insult. It becomes diagnosis. But you smile, because it means they remember. And every time a man clutches his son tighter, when the night is full of wind, you exhale and turn another page in your book of memory, because the story is still being written, and you, unlike them, are not afraid of shadows. The angels arrive in threes. They do not descend with trumpets. They appear silently, as light inside the folds of twilight. They say your name without contempt. That, more than anything, surprises you. Senoi, Sansinoi, Simangeloff. You know them. They are not messengers. They are cleaners. Fixers. Those sent when stories go off script. You ask nothing. They do not sit. Only speak. If you return now, your name will not be struck. If you return now, You may still be called first. If you return now, he will not rewrite you. You look at them, 3 stars frozen mid-fall. You say, I am not afraid of being rewritten. You say, I am afraid of forgetting myself. You say, if I return now, I must cut off my wings. And then you do something none of them expect. You offer them water. Not poison. Not honey. Just water. From your hands. They do not drink, but they do not leave. Not yet. They ask one final time. Do you curse him? You shake your head. No, I just won't obey him. And with that the angels fade, not in fury. But in sadness. And you do not cry, because you have already buried the version of yourself they came to resurrect. She's dust now, and you are wind somewhere far away. Another woman stirs from clay. They will not tell her about you, not yet, but she will feel it. A shape behind her ribs, a whisper beneath her heartbeat. A question, was I really the first? You will not answer, you will not intervene, because that choice, that fire, must be hers, just like it was yours. You return to the cave where your name echoes. It's quiet now, but not empty. And on the walls, drawn in charcoal and bone ash. Wings. Not bird. Like. Not beautiful, but jagged. Real. And wide enough to cast a shadow over every garden built to cage a woman. You sit, and you wait, not for Eden. Not for vengeance, but for the first girl who walks toward you with a question, or one let her ask out loud. And when she comes, you will stand, and you will whisper, it's okay, you're not the only one. The sand glows differently tonight. As if it remembers something. As if the dust, too, was once a woman made of breath. You kneel at the mouth of your cave, watching the sky shift. The stars are changing their constellations. The lion is moving, the serpent's tail unwinds. The virgin spills her water in reverse. You feel it in your ribs. Something is coming. But it is not war. It is not wrath. It is awareness. You walk, barefoot, into the desert. The wind doesn't sting anymore. It recognizes you now. So do the jackals. So do the owls. You do not look for others, but you find them. A woman digging with her hands through stone to reach her dead child. A girl whispering songs to her unborn daughter beneath a burning tree. A man, yes, even a man who tore the law in half for love, and now walks alone. You say nothing. They don't need your words, only your presence, only the weight of someone who once disobeyed the whole of heaven and still lives. At the river's edge. You see your reflection. It startles you, because it's not the demon they drew on clay tablets. It's not the beast painted in the margins of medieval GRIMOIRES. It's not the thing they warned men of in their beds. It is a woman. Tired. Whole. Mortal. Maybe. But true. You laugh. Not the cackle they fear. A soft laugh. The laugh of someone who has not forgotten what it is to be kissed by God. And to walk away. One night, you dream. You do not sleep often. But when you do, the sky comes close. In the dream, you are back in Eden. But it is not Eden. The colors are different, more vibrant. More raw. You walk barefoot, again, across soft moss and petals that hum beneath your steps. And there, ahead, under the same fig tree, Adam. And beside him, her. Eve. They do not see you. Or perhaps they do, and choose silence. You do not speak either. You simply sit. At a distance, but in peace, because now, you see, it was never about who came first, only about who remembered. When you wake, something has changed. You reach for your wings, and they are gone, not torn off, not stolen, laid down. Voluntarily. You no longer need them, because you are no longer trying to leave. You are here. And here is enough. You walk without destination now, only toward, not away. And as you do, the world begins to change, not in thunder. Not in flame, but in small, soft revolts. A woman says no for the first time in her life. A girl tells her teacher the story is wrong. A midwife crosses out the name Eve and writes Lilith in the margins. You do not teach them. You are not a prophet. You are not a god. You are not a curse. You are something much harder to destroy. You are a memory, alive, burning, uninvited, but undeniable, and when you pass beneath the moon, even she lowers her gaze for a moment, as if in reverence, not because you are holy, but because you never pretended to be. The desert no longer feels empty, and when the stars rearrange again, you finally whisper your name, not for others to hear, but for yourself to remember. Because history did not forget you. It was simply afraid of what would happen when you remembered you. There is a garden, not the first one, not the famous one, not the lie. This one is smaller, hidden, human. No gates of flame, no talking snakes, no fruit laced with knowledge or punishment, just wild time. Soft grass, a fig tree that bends with its own generosity, and under it, asleep or lies Eve. You do not wake her, you sit quietly like a memory at the edge of thought. She breathes in rhythm with the wind. You study her face, not with judgment, with recognition. She has aged, as you have not. She has borne pain, as you refused. She has loved someone who needed her to stay beneath him, and she stayed. But here, in this moment, there is no shame on her skin, only light, scars and light. You notice the way her hand curls into the earth beside her, like she trusts it, like she's never forgotten that her bones and the soil share the same breath. You want to say something, but words are for men who write books, not for women who remember. So instead you hum a low, old tune. No melody, just vibration. The first sound the wind made when it learned to speak your name. And Eve stirs, not startled, just slowly. She opens one eye and sees you. There is no fear. No gasp. Only a long inhale, like someone finally realizing they were holding their breath for centuries. You do not speak, neither does she. Instead, she reaches out a hand. Callous. Strong. Worn. You place yours into it. And for a moment, the world balances to women. One who left, one who stayed. Both blamed. Both forgotten. Both survivors. You lie beside her. Back to back, like sisters made of fire and dust. Above you, stars realign. A new constellation takes shape. Not a rib, not a man, not a curse, but a woman walking out of a garden alone. Unapologetic. Eternal. Somewhere, a baby is born without a name. Somewhere else, a woman writes her first poem and hides it in the walls. A girl draws wings on the back of her notebook. A grandmother unbuttons her collar for the first time in 50 years and feels the sun. A priest stutters. A temple cracks. A page tears. A voice, long silenced, begins to hum. The world will forget again. It always does. But not all of it. Not the parts that matter. Not the whisper in the wind. Not the fig tree that always bears fruit for the ones who weren't invited. Not the shadow that walks beside every woman who chooses herself. Your name will not be written in gold. But in ash. And breath. And salt. And lullabies. And warnings. And protest songs sung barefoot in the street. And tattoos in hidden places. And poems that begin. She was the first to say no and meant it. And one day when the earth is tired and the sky is cracked and the story is almost over, a new garden will bloom. Not a place of innocence, but a place of memory. And under the fig tree, two women will laugh. And the laughter will be God's favorite sound. You were never a demon. You were the first question, the first refusal, the first exile, and the first freedom. And in the silence, after your name is spoken, the world begins again.